Today, we have us the world-renowned architect and KGPN Ron Gupta. Ron has performed pioneering work in mission-critical facilities for major financial services, pharmaceutical and telecommunication clients. Ron graduated from Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur in 1970 in architecture and won silver medal for standing second in entire institute. He was then a Heinz Graduate Fellow in Fine Arts at Carnegie Mellon University. Ron founded Singh Associates in Miami in 1982, then founded Sigma 7 Design Group in New York in 2003. He served on a presidential Blue Ribbon panel for federal security design in aftermath of the disaster at Federal Security Building in Oklahoma City. He has founded Computers in Architecture and Design Build committees at the American Institute of Architects and spoken at numerous conventions. Along with his wife Chitra, Ron created Ron and Chitra Gupta Foundation, which has funded Ranveer and Chitra Gupta School of Infrastructure at IIT Kharagpur and several other philanthropic projects in India. He has also endowed the Uday Agnihotri Chair Professorship at IIT Kharagpur.
I'm a student of mechanical engineering. It's a pleasure meeting you.
Good morning, Raj. Very
morning,
nice to
sir.
meet you.
Okay. So I'm sort of interested in asking you a few questions. I would start with asking, what is your philosophy of giving back, and how do you think your gift can make a difference for the institute?
Good. That's a very good question.
Thank you.
Giving back is something I look at as an extended part of education. That education really has three phases. The first phase where you go through formal training, formal education at a school like IIT. Phase two is applying that knowledge into your practical life, either as a teacher or as a professional or anything else that you would like to do. And phase three, what you're calling as giving back, is really not giving back. It's extending your education by applying the assets that you have earned or learned through working and teaching back into the school that you started from. So that's what really giving back to me is. It's coming back to the roots where you started from and applying what you've learned in a positive and a progressive manner.
That's great of you. So yes. So as your entrepreneur yourself, what kind of advice will you give for the budding entrepreneurs of IIT Kharagpur?
Okay. Well, in terms of advice, I mean, most IIT students are bright enough that they really do
Thanks
not
for the
need
compliment.
advice per se. But there are certain common elements that one can see in people that are successful. Okay, and these common elements to me are: number one, applying the knowledge of learning in a logical manner, that you're learning how to learn. And as you go in life, the problems you face are going to change. So you have to be able to adapt to those problems. So learn how to learn and then apply that methodology to any problem whatsoever that you face. Second is being passionate. You have to be passionate about what you do. You cannot just say, well, it's another job, or I'm just doing something for the sake of it. You have to be very, very passionate about what you do, whether it's in school, in business, or practice. And third is maintaining a level of integrity. That one of the things we learn is be integral, be truthful, do the things in a professional and business-like manner, but be very, very integral. So integrity is extremely important. And lastly, I like to say that don't ever give up. You start something, you fail. That's okay. Try again. Try again.
So my question to you is that how you envision your gift to the Ranveer and Chitra Gupta School of Infrastructure Design and Management to actually, see the difference over here at IIT Kharagpur?
Okay. Again, that's a very good question. As you know, I'm an architectural graduate, but I worked as an architect and as a computer entrepreneur And about 9 years ago, when the then director and I talked about an endowment to IIT Kharagpur, we talked about various possibilities. The challenge of the hour for India at that time was the fragility of its infrastructure, that was very, very weak, and it needed to be built up. So instead of developing another arm of the Department of Architecture, we felt that a new school of infrastructure design and management be opened. The purpose behind the infrastructure school is to prepare today's professionals for conceiving and delivering infrastructure projects on a fast-track basis. As you know, the infrastructure projects typically take years and years. It takes 10 years to do the Calcutta Metro Rail extension or so on. But lately there have been ventures like the Delhi Metro and some of the other projects where we've been able to successfully and quickly produce these projects. So that's the basic objective, is to understand about every aspect of what's involved in developing an infrastructure, such as politics, financial situation, availability of land, routing, utilities, architecture. So there are all lot of disciplines that are involved in producing a good infrastructure project. So what the school has done is it has integrated itself as a multidisciplinary school and uses professors from different departments to teach different aspects of
So today, students generally choose the most sought after path, the most sought after career path. How do you advise them to choose passion over such career, such safe career?
Okay. It's very natural that students will select the available sought after paths. It's very natural. But the key is that any path you choose, develop a passion for it. Do it with full passion. But if you're not happy with what you're doing, then go into what you're happy with. So you must be happy with whatever you're doing so that your passion stays with you. Okay? If one works for a company and is not happy with it, and you constantly complain about that company, that's not a good mix. Neither for you nor for the company that you work for. Okay?
So sir, the present Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi, has given a call for a new India, right? So what is your opinion about a new India? What should be a new India we can have?
Well, Prime Minister Modi has initiated several projects all over India, and today's age in this world is an age of change and adaptation. So every year it's a new India, and there is a change, and you have to adapt to it. And I think some of the other slogans that are used for Swachh Bharat, infrastructure development, Make India, all of those are slogans that need to be repeated year after year after year. Because every year it is a new India, it is a new world. Things are changing all over the world. The relationships between different countries are changing, and it's becoming a global platform where a company in the US is using companies in India to perform some of their work. Okay.
So sir, how do you see the startup culture in India building up? You've been in the United States for years, and how do you see the change building up in India as well now?
Okay. The startup culture in India, to the extent that I know, has done well. One of the concerns I have about the startups in India is that they sell out too quickly. I've seen many companies get up to a point within just 2 or 3 years and then sell out. And they miss the opportunity of becoming huge. And when a large company acquires a small company, sometimes they integrate it well, and sometimes they get rid of it within 2-3 years. Okay? So my advice to startups would be, don't look for quick, short-term profits, gains, but look for a long-term strategy. And keep on adapting and expanding to what the market needs are.
How can IIT alumni, to be specific, IIT Kharagpur alumni, can promote the Indian academia, its innovations, enhancing the internationalization of these premier institutes of India?
Good, great question.
Thank you, sir.
A lot of IIT Kharagpur graduates go overseas and establish their businesses and go to schools and so on. And how can they help establish an international presence for IIT Kharagpur? A couple of ways I can think of. One is developing good working relationship between IIT Kharagpur and a foreign institution on a joint project. For example, in the Department of Infrastructure Design and Management, we have just completed a project working in conjunction with Columbia University in New York, and several professors and about 30 students from Columbia University came over to IIT Kharagpur earlier this year in January, and worked on the water infrastructure project. They went to Sundarbans and they looked at the water problems in India. Then they went back and did their project and invited students and faculty from IIT to critique their projects. Similarly, the Department of Architecture just finished a project working in conjunction with the Harvard University in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and that was a practicum and a joint project. So one way is to really work with very established universities in USA or elsewhere. Second way for the academia here to bring internationalization is to take IIT there. And I'm a proponent of setting up a small IIT cell within Europe or USA and do some teaching. Some of that distance teaching, some of that could be physical teaching, similar to what universities in the US are doing over here. Carnegie Mellon has a setup over here. Other universities have set up here. And a good example of the Indian universities doing that is like Manipal University has set up centers abroad. And so I'm a very strong proponent of taking IIT Kharagpur and putting a cell out there in Singapore, in Hong Kong, in Poland, and so on. And so that's one way of internationalizing our academia.
Reaching out to people over there.
Yes.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much for the insight, sir. We are very elated that you are in IIT Kharagpur campus. We thank you for all the contributions made by you to the institute. Thanks for the
Thank you very much. It's indeed a pleasure. Once you belong to a school, you always belong to that school.
Yeah, once a KGPN, always a KGPN.